Okay, so good afternoon. So we're going to discuss about partnership liquidation. We're already done with, of course, with partnership formation, operation, and dissolution. So as a review, when we say liquidation, it is a process of winding up of its business activities characterized by sale of all non-cash assets. After the sale of non-cash assets, we will settle all liabilities, and of course, we have to distribute the remaining cash to the partners. We call the sale of non-cash assets as realization. No, when we realize or under realization, there will be, or it will result to a gain or loss on realization. So when you sell it higher than the book value, then you will be having a gain on realization, which will be distributed according to P&L ratio or profit and loss ratio. When the book value you sell is greater than the amount that you receive, or the amount that you sell for it is less than its book value, then you will be having a loss on realization. And again, it will be distributed according to your P&L ratio. Now, there are rules, no, in settling accounts, no, or in order, no, there are priorities in order or order of preference when we are liquidating. The first thing we should do is we have to settle all liabilities to our outside creditors. And then second is we have to settle our inside creditors, because sometimes we have liabilities to our own partners. So, pwede naman yon. And of course, the last one is we have to pay for the profits. There are two types of liquidation: the lump sum liquidation, which was already discussed last meeting, and of course the installment liquidation. But before we proceed with installment liquidation, we will just be having a review of problem 11 that we already solved last time, so that we can have an idea again for the installment liquidation. Well, the term itself, lump sum liquidation and installment liquidation, from its definition, when we say lump sum, one time, because it's a lump, di ba? Pag sinabi natin installment naman, installment meaning paisa-isa. So, the reason behind there is, if it's a lump sum liquidation, we sold all non-cash asset one time, big time. While under installment liquidation, we sold the non-cash assets gradually, no, one at a time. Let's say part of it was sold in August, part of it was sold in in September or October or November. So, paonti-onti or installment basis ang pagbebenta natin ng non-cash assets. Then of course, if that's the case, yung pagbibigay natin or pagsisettle natin ng liabilities or pagsisettle natin ng partnership capital will also be on installment form. Now, ano yung mga tatandaan natin, no, under liquidation? So, aside dun sa order of preference na sinabi ko kanina, we have the right to offset. So, pag sinabi nating right to offset, nagkakaroon kasi ng chance na magkaroon ng deficiency yung mga partners kapag nagkakaroon na tayo ng distribution ng losses when it comes to realization. So, kapag may deficiency, yung isang partner, kapag nagkaroon ng loss on realization, first thing, ang aalamin natin, if that partner is solvent or insolvent. If that partner is solvent, so that partner will now give an additional investment for him to cover up the negative balance of capital account. Pero kapag ka-insolvent siya, automatically, the solvent partners will have or will take the losses or the deficiency of the insolvent partners. Pag may existing loan dun sa certain partner na yon, nagkakaroon din tayo or we exercise the right to offset. Okay, for us or for you to continually or to understand, let's move on problem 11. Okay, so this is problem 11. Now, I'll read the problem with you, no? So, Aparici, Bantilles, and Lirin, which I will acronym as ABL, no? ABL have decided to liquidate their partnership on December 1, 2019. And these are the following financial position. I am on page 4-43 of your book. Now, as you can see, ABL partnership, they have their assets, cash, and all other assets, the non-cash assets such as accounts receivable, inventories, property, plant, and equipment for a total of 475,000. So, ito po iyon. Cash, we have 25,000. So, I have been mentioned, no, I already discussed this table that we are using under liquidation. So, first, I have to put all the account. So we have cash, non-cash assets, the liabilities, and the liabilities to outside creditors, the liabilities to insider or to partners, and the capital account. So as you can see. Also, for us to easily or hindi na natin ma-memorize, so nilalagay na rin natin or we already include the P&L ratio of each partner. Make sure that the P&L ratio is always equivalent to 100%. Now, we put the balances before liquidation. So for cash, it's 25,000. For non-cash assets, so that's all other assets such as accounts receivable, inventories, and PPE, it's 475,000 pesos. For liabilities, we have 240,000 pesos for accounts payable and for the loans payable to B of 30,000 pesos. And of course, the capital account will be 120, 50, 60 respectively for A, B, and L. So now, just to when you're solving a problem, make sure that balance yung ating assets is equals to liabilities plus capital. So ganun pa rin naman yung basic equation natin, yun pa rin naman yan, no? So for liabilities, a total of 500, liabilities and capital, while for our assets, it's a total of also 500,000. Now, there are additional informations that we're going to use. The personal assets are as follows. So kapag ganito class, when we say solvent or insolvent, sometimes the book tells you if it's solvent. Or sometimes the book will tell you if it's insolvent. Pero kapag ganito yung given, if the personal worth is positive, ibig sabihin, solvent siya, no? Kaya lang, since given, kapag sinabing solvent siya, walang sinabing amount as to how much a solvent. So, ibig sabihin, maraming property yan personally. So, unlimited yung pagiging solvent niya. But if this is the case, na binibigay sa atin yung figure up to how much that partner is solvent, so hanggang dun lang siya solvent. For instance, A is solvent up to 20,000 only, while B is solvent up to 60,000, and L is solvent up to 25,000. Then again, ABL, ayan, they share profit and losses in the ratio of 40, 20, 40, 40, or ayun na, nilagay na natin sa taas. Then according to partnership agreement, there will be no interest that will accrue. And all non-cash assets were sold on December 10 for 260,000. So this is a lump sum because it's one time, big time. Now let's solve. Okay. So if it's sold for 260,000 pesos, so let's add up debit cash or 260,000 because the requirement is prepare a statement of liquidation, but I prefer to prepare a statement of liquidation as well as the entries, no? So this is 260,000. If this is 260,000, then we will be having a loss of how much? So this is 475,000. So merong loss na 215,000. 215,000 now. We will divide it according to P&L. So for A, it's 20%. So negative 215,000 times 0.2. That's 43,000. For B, it's negative 215,000 times 0.4. And for L, same na yan. So that's 86,000. Okay. So that's it. So it's a debit to cash, 260,000. Debit, A capital, 43,000. And 86,000 for B and L. For a total of debit, 475,000 and total credit of 475,000. So that's it. After the sale of non-cash asset and distribution of losses among the partners, the balances will now become cash for 285, non-cash asset is 0, 240 still the same, no? Then we have a negative balance for B and of course for L. Okay, now, let's pay the liabilities first, no? Kasi yun ang ating sinisettle muna, liabilities, that's the order of preference. As we pay the liabilities, so bayaran natin ang liabilities natin. Take note ha, outside creditors muna, okay? So this is now 240,000 and then 240,000. So upon payment of liabilities, our cash now is equal to 45,000. Our loan to Bantiles is still 30.77 negative. Yeah. Okay, now. So, as you can see, si B ay may negative balance and si L. So, dito natin nagagamit yung right to offset. So, pag sinabi natin yung right to offset, babayaran din naman kasi natin si B. So, why not we offset the loan? Yun lang yung logic behind, no? So, let's offset the loan. And of course, that's it. So, negative 6,000 pa rin, no? Now, if that is the case, let's find out if these partners are solvent. So, sino ang solvent? Of course, si B and L, up to 60 and 25,000. So, since 60,000 ang solvency ni B, pwede siyang mag-add ng up to 6,000. While si L, pwede siyang mag-additional investment only up to 25,000. By the way, I forgot to make an entry. Let's make an entry for this one. This is 240,000. Ito yung payment of liabilities. And ito naman yung offset ng loan. Then we have additional investment. This is 31,000. 6,000 for B and 25,000 for for L. Now, the balance is 45,000 cash, 77,000 for A and negative 1,000. So at this point, L is no longer solvent. So the solvent partners will absorb the deficiency of the insolvent partners. So ibig sabihin, babawasan natin yung capital ni A, ibibigay natin kay L. So entry will now be debit to A capital 1,000 and credit to A capital 1,000. Now let's... Oh, I forgot to put it here. This is... Ayan. 31,000. Okay. Our cash is 76. Then let's settle the payment. Okay, so debit, A capital, 76,000 and cash for 76,000. So that's the end of our lump sum liquidation. So I hope you can still follow. No, eto, nandito na lahat ng step. No, first is you sell non-cash asset, distribute any gain or loss on realization. Then you pay outside creditors. Then there's a right to offset. Also, additional investment for solvent partners and absorption of loss, no, from insolvent partners. Now, let's move on. Installment liquidation, no? Pag sinabi natin installment liquidation, meaning to say, yung non-cash asset was sold not one time or not on a lump sum basis. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng nabenta siya, part of it was sold last May, then sold this June, and then other part will be sold on July or August or September or whatever the case it may be. So, ibig sabihin lang nun, installment yung pagbebenta natin. So, what are the process? No, actually, same lang din naman yung order of preference natin. Ibibenta natin yung non-cash assets, then we will pay the outside creditors. Applicable pa rin naman yung offset, applicable din yung solvent and insolvent partners deficiency. Now, what is different with installment liquidation is that dahil nga limited yung cash, ang question doon, sino ang una nating babayaran? Sino ang babayaran natin na una dun sa available na cash? So, that's why meron tayong additional 2 schedules na ginagawa. Number 1 is the cash priority programs, and number 2 is the schedule of safe payments. So, when we say cash priority program, from the term itself, sino ba yung priority na bayaran? Okay, this program, which is prepared at the start of the liquidation process, will help the partners project when they can expect to be included in the cash distribution. If the program is prepared, any amount of cash received from the realization of assets may be paid immediately to partnership creditors and later the partners as specified in the program. So, ibig sabihin, let's say may available cash dun sa first part na nabenta natin. Ang nagbayad tayo ng outside creditors. May natira 10,000. The question there is, ang mga capital balances, it's not equivalent to 10,000 lang naman. So, ibig sabihin, sino ang priority nating bayaran doon sa 10,000? Will it be A, B, or C? Okay? When we say schedule of safe payments naman, magkano yung babayaran natin? Actually, parang pareho lang naman din sila, no? Gagawan lang natin ng schedule. Now, let's move on problem 15 para mas maintindihan natin. Okay. Problem 15 on page 4-54. So there are 3 requirements or 3 questions. The partner most vulnerable to partnership losses on liquidation. So, sino daw ang vulnerable sa partnership losses? Number 2, if 65,000 is available for distribution, it should be paid to whom? So, ito yung tanong ko kanina. Pag merong amount na ganito, sino ba babayaran? Okay? And of course, number 3, if the total amount of 7.5 is available for distribution after all outside liabilities are paid, it should be paid as follows. Okay, so let's answer this by making or by using the cash priority program. So, paano ginagawa si cash priority program? So, ito yung table niya, no? Okay, now, let's read the problem. The asset and equities of Perdales, Cibalos, and Bandonel Partnership at the end of its fiscal year ended October 31, 2019 are as follows. Assets, 150,000, and then equities, liabilities, loan from Bandonel is equivalent to that one. Okay, now. First, the partners decided to liquidate the partnership. They estimated that the non-cash assets other than the loan to Cibalos can be converted into 100 cash over the 2-month period ending December 31. Cash is to be distributed to the appropriate parties as it becomes available during the liquidation. So, first thing first, ilagay muna natin yung any balances before liquidation. Okay, so let's put 45,000 for Perdales. 30,000 for Cibalos, PCB. B is 15,000. Now, if there is any loan, okay, from or to partner, okay, pag may utang tayo sa partner, let's add it, no? Pag may utang si partner sa partnership, i-minus natin yun doon automatically. So, as you can see, there is a loan to Cibalos. May utang siya, di ba? Receivable siya ni partnership. Okay? So, i-minus natin ngayon siya kay C. While loan from Bandonel 10, i-plus natin ngayon siya kay B. Okay? So, ganun ka-importante yung loan to and loan from. Di ba, nung una pa lang na dinidiscuss ko ang partnership, beware of this preposition, the to and from. Okay? Laging ang standpoint natin is from the point of view of the partnership. Okay, parang ito, loan to Cibalos. Since we are the partnership at nasa asset natin siya, receivable natin siya, i-minus natin siya, di ba? From the partner's capital. As well as B naman, it's a liability to B. So, bayaran natin siya or idagdag natin siya sa capital. Now, let's divide it to P&L ratio. What is the P&L ratio? P&L ratio, ayan, nasa capital. 0.30, 0.50, 0.20. Okay, so let's divide. So, equals 45 divide 30%. 150 for P, Okay. Ano ibig sabihin ng loss absorption balances, no? When we say loss absorption balances, up to that amount yung pwedeng loss na ma-absorb ni partner. Now, if that is the case, okay, what will be the next thing that we will do? To get the priority one, hanapin mo yung highest to the second highest. So in this case, it's 154p and Bandonel. Take note, class, that the highest loss absorption capacity or balances, siya yung priority. Okay, lagi pong ganun yun, ma'am. Yes, it's always that way. Kasi, the mere fact that you have the highest loss absorption, ibig sabihin, ikaw yung pinaka-less na magkakaroon ng loss. Kasi, yun yung ikaw yung may pinakamalaki. Now, so ibig sabihin nun, up to how much, di ba? Okay. For the first payment or for the first priority, pwede kang mabayaran up to yung difference nyo ni first highest to the second highest, which is how much? 25,000. Okay. So, saan galing yung 25? 150 minus 125. So, para equal na kayo ngayon. Okay? Now, next is priority 2. Hanggat hindi nag-i-equal yung loss absorption balances ninyo, hindi ka titigil. Kasi pag equal na yung loss absorption balances nyo, ibig sabihin, mag-base na kayo sa P&L ratio. Lahat na kayo pwedeng bayaran. Okay? So now, for the priority 2, it's per PNB or per Dallas and Bandonel. For how much? For 75,000. Kasi 125 minus ayan. So, as you can see on this table, ang pinaka-last priority natin ay C. Okay. Now, question number 1. The partner most vulnerable to partnership losses. Of course, it's C. Kasi siya yung last priority. Okay. Number 2, if there is 65,000, okay, pesos, magkano ngayon ang babayaran natin? Paano natin siya di-distribute? Okay, ganito yan, class. Pag nakuha mo na yung difference ng first and second, ang magkano ang first payment sa kanila, i-multiply mo ngayon ito dun sa P&L ratio. So, P has a P&L ratio of 30%. So, the first 7.5 will goes to P. Ito naman, so 75,000 times 0.3 and 75,000 times 0.2. Okay. The first 37,500 will be distributed to P and B. Okay, if that is the case. So 45,000 lang yan. So now, let's compute. Okay, may answer na dito. Okay, let's compute. Now, for this one, for the outside creditors, 50,000 po ang utang natin. Ayun, no? Sa book, 50,000 liability. Now, first priority, of course, kay creditor yon 50,000. So, 65,000 minus 50,000, may natira pang 15,000. Let's move on first priority. Sabi niya, ang first priority, bayaran daw natin ng 7.5 si P per Dallas. Ayan yun. Now, may natira pang 7.5. So, paano natin ngayon nahatiin si 7.5? This will now become based on what? P&L ratio. Okay? So, yung 7.5 na yan, hahatiin natin siya. So, 7.5 times 30 over 50. Okay, 7.5 times 30, sorry, 20 over 50. For a total of 7.5. 4.5 to P and 3,000 to B. So that's how are we going to distribute it. Letter B. The answer is letter B. And last, Number 3. If total amount of 7.5 is available for distribution after all outside liabilities are paid, it should be paid to whom? Ayan o, ang linaw dito. Priority 1. 7.5 ang tanong. So, first 7.5 will now goes to P. So, kung more than 7.5 yan, saka lang natin pupunta tayo sa priority 2. Okay? So, that's problem 15. Now we will move on problem 16.